Oh my god! Ever went and wondered, imagine if an animatronic was running at you at near light speed? Well, today we play 2 of the most absolutely terrifying FNAF games I could find, with the main goal of this video is to try and beat these nightmarish experiences. I'm pretty excited for this one, so without further ado, let's hop straight into the video. So off the bat, we have the game called FREDBEAR Eternal Nights. It is a Roblox experience, but fellas, let me just explain to you just the sheer terror we're about to subdue ourselves to. Me and 4 other of my mates hopped into this game, and let's just say it's gonna be a blast. The game begins with this really cool cutscene of the characters inside a car as they talk about if they should head toward this cool location. Not much is known about it, they just say, oh, it's gonna be fun. Probably not the best mindset, but we end up arriving at the pizzeria, and from here, things are already pretty mysterious. The whole building is just powered off, and the only thing that we can grab is this flashlight. Just straight off the bat, the atmosphere alone, just this really grim, and just, you can tell this place hasn't been touched in potentially years. Well, beside the Halloween decorations, which, let's be honest here, maybe, I don't know, one of the animatronics thought, hey, let me go around the place and add these, or maybe this was the last thing the place ever got before it was completely abandoned. There's also these like chests that are around the building, which you can go ahead and, well, you can't actually open them. You're going to need bolt cutters or pliers, I think it is. These chests give you coins, which is this game's main currency, and the currency is only used at the beginning of the night to grab additional items. But for now, they're not really too useful, and to be honest, they don't really get useful to a lot later on. So our main objective was to find the power room, and specifically to rearrange the fuse items. So the building itself is put into 3 different areas. The first area is the security room. The next area is the, I guess, loading docks, or I'm gonna call it the fuse area. And the last being the main stage. So to split the map up, there's basically 3 different spots you can go to. We need to go toward the loading docks or the power fuse room. When we are here, we have to go ahead and turn off the power and then place the fuse in. If you have the power on and have the fuse inside the box, you can actually get hit with an electric shock. So don't do that unless you're me, because I'm just really smart when it comes to FNAF games. But anyways, as we turn on the power, this is when the whole building just becomes alive. And already you can tell things are gonna be quite not what we expect. We then head back to the security room, and from here the night begins. We're already starting to shit our pants because we have no idea what to expect, and specifically we know that animatronics are going to activate, just we don't know when they're going to do this. Bro, was it this one? Was it this one? Was it this one?
No, it was a different one. It was a different one.
Bonnie's moving around. Bonnie's moving
around. George! The main goal was to go toward the puppet's corner or the prize counter to go ahead and wind up the music box. Interestingly, you can do this either physically at the actual place, or you can do it on the cameras. We opted to go toward the puppets area, and for some reason we thought this was more optimal than doing it on the cameras. So it was me and one of my mates that decided to be the brave soldiers to go toward this prize counter, because by now we started to hear some footsteps, and this was already alarming until we saw something with red eyes come our way. This was when we completely went, what the f***? So as soon as we saw this red-eyed entity, we immediately just bolted. As Bonnie approached, I decided to leg it because at this point, Bonnie was wrapping around and I just went, I'm just gonna run. And I just went straight toward the locker, and I thought I was all safe because, you know, I'm in the locker, it can't see me, but it decided to actually begin to pull the locker. So it was a tug of war against Bonnie, which was, mind you, absolutely terrifying. I managed to scrape barely. The whole thing was completely insane, but from here we managed to go through the rest of the night, mind you, with the power off, because in this game randomly your power can just deactivate, and then you have to go ahead and find the 3 fuses across the pizzeria. We did not manage to find all 3 fuse items, but we did manage to scrape through the night, so we'll count this as a win. So night 1 showed us how terrifying the game was going to be, but now we would move into night 2. However, we also had a cutscene at the end of the night, which I kind of went past. This is simply just us trying to leave the pizzeria. However, Golden Freddy or someone decides to block the entrance and then jump scares us. This isn't the end of the night. We end up managing to wake up. During this next cutscene, we have a vision of us in the FNAF 4 building. Bro, is this FNAF 4? Oh! I can't lie, this jump scare actually made me and one of my mates jump, so yeah, that happened. From here, it was time to go ahead and find out how to get through night 2. We also found the old animatronics, being the toy ones, which are actually the ones that I deactivated inside of this game. Kind of like the opposite of FNAF 2, so I thought that was pretty cool. But from here, it was pretty much time to find out how to get through this second night. And our main goal was to kind of run around and make sure the puppet was wound. A pretty interesting tactic, but it was mainly just find as many items as we could. This mindset was really not the best because we had no way of knowing where animatronics were. One player was at the camera room checking for every animatronic and keeping the puppet wound, and the other 4 were kind of running around the pizzeria and just being headless chooks. I was one of the players that were running around, and let's just say we were coming into contact with animatronics very often. In fact, there was many moments where we were simply trying to not scream as we could hear heavy thuds outside of many rooms. We were pinned right outside of the toilets, and there seemed to be no way of escaping. There is a vent system, but unfortunately for us, the vent only goes toward both of the toilets, or the restrooms I should say. So there was no physical way of us escaping. What happened next was genuinely disturbing. Go, just go. Get in the vent.
What happened?
Bro, the vents would be the last place we would ever see, as we basically had nowhere else to go. Foxy pinned us from one of the vents and Bonnie was coming up from the other. So the only thing that we could do was face, well, the end. Somehow one of my other mates managed to survive, and he was our last hope. Somehow, just by the slimmest of margins, we would get through night 2. The whole night I was carrying a screwdriver, which meant I could go through vents, but this didn't really help as by now, every animatronic was starting to come out beside Freddy himself. So with that, we're going to move into night 3, which is where things are going to get a little bit more interesting. I didn't actually mention how the animatronics work, so I'm going to quickly go through that now. Bonnie is deaf, so if you don't make sound, it won't find you. Chica can apparently see you very well, and if you are crouched, she can actually sense you more if you're crouched for a prolonged period of time. And Foxy will basically, well, he just needs flashlight and he goes away, just like in FNAF 2. All in all, they're pretty interesting to deal with, and they all have unique mechanics, but mainly they just free roam, and if they see you, you have to run. There's also a cupcake, which I don't think we've actually seen yet, but if I remember, this thing just kind of manages to spawn wherever it wants to, and with the cupcake, if you go near it, it's like a proximity thing. It just powers on and runs after you, or I should say hops after you. The cupcake can't also jump scare you. It can actually bite you and leave you barely alive. But yeah, some very interesting mechanics, and for night 3, we're going to have the same kind of goal here to pretty much survive for as long as possible. Again, we would have one teammate at the security room checking on all the animatronics, and the other 4 roaming around the pizzeria looking for any fuses or just in general checking out for animatronics. Our game plan was swift, just keep the puppet's music box up and try not to die. This night would be a pretty chaotic one, as there was many instances where we saw animatronics and we had to bolt for it.
It's in the puppets area.
The fuse? Okay.
I think it always spawns there.
One of them is there. I don't know which one it is. You can put the fuse in any single one. Middle one is for the employee zone.
And for some reason, the cupcake would keep spawning at the exact same spot, so it was pretty confusing on how we were going to deal with this thing. The first attempt of night 3 ended in pretty much disaster, as we would all pretty much meet our demise in our own separate ways. Our last teammate would make his way toward one of the boarded off rooms, and from here, they would just manage to sit in the corner until eventually the puppet would jump out of its box. So we attempted this night again, but this time we found a secret little Easter egg. If you find this toy Freddy head and you press E on it to interact, it does some random voice lines. Just listen for yourself.
Eduardo on the floor.
Are we? Oh.
So I'm not too sure what this even means, but it's pretty cool. This time we were a little bit more cautious on where we were moving in the pizzeria, trying to avoid the animatronics as much as possible. It's just at this rate, everything's just, all the animatronics are basically surrounding the main stage. This is where they love to go. And this is the room that is mostly where we have to go to grab not only the fuses but to wind the music box. So I did find myself a fuse, so I was like, let me go help out everyone, let me go back to the fuse room. And as I decide to do this, I hear Withered Bonnie activate, and in about 2 seconds I saw Withered Bonnie and my head was eaten in that same instance. Everyone else had been jump scared except for one of my mates. They decided to camp right at the most dangerous spot in the whole game, this being the loading docks. Somehow, and I don't know how, they barely managed to survive. I thought the puppet would have activated by now, but before I got jump scared, I did wind the music box, and this must have been the exact thing that made the puppet go away. But yeah, that was it for night 3, and now we had to go through night 4. This night strangely does not have a cutscene, so we just hop straight into the night. Things by now are getting quite heated, and all the animatronics are out to get us. There wasn't really much more we could do besides just keep running and try to wind the music box as much as possible. This night, I did find myself a pair of bolt cutters, which is great, but I could only grab coins with the bolt cutters. And yes, there is drilling happening in my house right now, so if you hear drilling, that's why. But anyways, that wasn't really going to help me, as about 2 seconds after this, I got jump scared by it with a chica.
George, are you dead?
Everyone else was gone, except one of my teammates. And again, in strange fashion, they managed to somehow get through the night. And we clearly were doing pretty good. We managed to get to night 5. And sure, things were hard. The animatronics were quicker, more alert. But we managed to keep ourselves alive by just doing the music box pretty much. But night 5 was not going to be easy, as already at the beginning of the night, Golden Freddy decides, hey, I'm going to shut off the power. This already puts a twist on night 5, as now we already have to look for the fuses, and I don't think we were ready for the sheer mayhem this night would bring, as Golden Freddy would be a new animatronic. And how Golden Freddy works is it will float around the pizzeria until it spots you, and at that rate you have to try and run as far as you can, because Golden Freddy will just fly towards you and jump scare you within an instant. It was quite clear that Golden Freddy was going to be the main boss of the night, and the only way we could really complete this is by simply avoiding him at all costs. So, future tracking guy here, basically night 5 is a lot different to what I first expected. So it's been about a week since I've played Eternal Night, and I did decide to hop back in it, although this time by myself. And let's go through all the things that I got wrong with Golden Freddy. First and foremost, don't run away from Golden Freddy. Why don't you do this? Well, Golden Freddy, if you spot him, will stand there and float like a silly person. If you stare at his face, this will make him pause. This is what you want, as if you stare toward his face and you have to have the cursor on his head, then this will eventually make him disappear. There's another thing that Golden Freddy can do, and this is when he sits down. If Golden Freddy is sitting down like an unk, all you have to do is make sure you go the complete other way. This is where I guess I was kind of right. Yes, if he's sitting down, run the other way, because if you stare at him whilst he's sitting down, then he will jump scare you. The question now is, how am I going to beat this night? There's a few things I will have to do. First of all, I will have to immediately go ahead and try find all fuses. This was my first plan of attack, as if I had all the fuses, this gave me the best chance of completing the night. The only thing we need to keep basically on is the front stage. The reason why I want to keep the music box wound is, you can probably guess, the marionette. We have to keep the marionette wound at all times. office. So there's either two ways I can do this. One is I go ahead and put the power toward the front stage and the office area. This will then allow me to go toward the office and use the monitors. I can then wind the music box from the monitor and check the hallways for the animatronics. This strat was pretty good. It meant that I could survive without being detected, as in this game, being detected is the worst thing that can possibly happen. However, there was only one caveat to this method, and that is when the power runs out. Your power is not infinite. No. When that thing runs out, there's nothing you can do. So either have a plan to escape the office or already have the fuses ready to go. This was the only downside to this method. As I was playing on one random attempt, I was just chilling and I saw Freddy Fazbear. I then went straight back toward my office and shut the door immediately on him. However, what happened next would scar me for the rest of my days. Whoa! Oh my god! Your eyes do not deceive you. Freddy Fazbear had just grabbed the door and opened it. I've never seen an animatronic ever grab the door and open it before, except technically in this Chuck E. Cheese fan game. But still, I was shocked that he was even able to do this. My mic wasn't even on me. I had my mic literally on the other side of the room, and you can hear my faint, absolute distraught voice just going through the mic. I then decided, hey, I need to have some teammates again. So I asked my mates to come and help me. Fortunately, 2 of my mates were online because it's school holidays and no one seems to have anything else to do except play Roblox FNAF games. But anyways, we hop on this Eternal Nights game and our goal was to complete Night 5 at all costs. The goal was basically the same. Get the 2 fuses, get it toward the front room and the office area, and keep the music box wound. With 2 extra players, it does make our life a lot easier, as now if I get jump scared, it's not the end of the game. However, the main premise stays the same. You have to keep alert because if one thing goes wrong, you're kind of screwed. And when you put 3 absolute idiots into a Roblox FNAF game, then bad things are gonna happen. Get back! Get back! Push! Run! No! He's Foxy. Oh, he's after me. He jumped at me! I don't think
I'm about to throw them. He's behind you!
Run! It's Foxy!
No, actually, run. That's Foxy.
Run! Get to the music box. Get to the music box.
Go. Oh my god, Freddy and Cheetah!
There's 6 of them!
Wind it! Quickly! He's good. They're going away.
Oh my gosh, it's Freddy.
Yeah, it's Freddy. Go to Freddy again, same spot.
Or stare at his head. Oh my gosh, wait.
What? He's getting pushed close.
Go. Run, find a hiding spot. Can't lie, it was pretty fun, but at the same time, what is going on? This game is absolutely absurd. However, on one of these attempts, we managed to get to 4 AM. And surprisingly, we managed to go through 2 rotations of the power, which means we got the power on once and we got the power on again. That means the puppet's music box is wound and all we have to do is survive till 6 AM. However, this was harder said than done because every single animatronic decided to go straight toward the office, and this meant we were pretty much going to lose. I got jump scared trying to hide in one of the hiding spots, and my other 2 teammates were also pretty screwed. One managed to hide, the other got jump scared. Somehow my other mate didn't use his life yet. I already had used this, so they managed to get a quick revive, and this meant we still had 2 players at 4:30 AM. Time was ticking, but the nerves were starting to set in. Could they beat the night, or would the night beat them? That sounds really messed up. By managing to just hide from the animatronics, we barely got to 6 AM, and the celebration was insane. As we complete the game, we get a cutscene. It seems that the main character tries to escape the pizzeria. However, we get captured, and Freddy sends us straight toward the room where I guess all the other people go to. And at this point, our fate was sealed. So this next game, and first of all, I know you're possibly confused. Yes, it does say hello neighbor, but I can assure you it's kinda like FNAF. We'll get into that in a second. But yes, we are next playing Hello Neighbor, and what better way to play Hello Neighbor than by using an absolutely insane mod. This is the Fast Fredbear mod, which I'm sure you have heard of because it's literally been everywhere. As we hop into our game, we begin just outside the neighbor's house, or we'll call him Fredbear. Fredbear is massive, right? You can just see him next to the window staring at the player. Oh my god! Oh! What the f- Oh shit. There's an interesting mechanic where you can actually call out for Fredbear's name, although I wouldn't recommend this as it's basically a guaranteed death sentence. The first goal was to wrap around Fredbear's house to look for any entries to get in. I found an entry at one of the areas here, and this was my main way of entering the house. Straight away, I would hear a really strange sound as if something was stuck. To my dismay, Fredbear was stuck at the front door, and as soon as I walked near him, he decided to get off the door and attack me. The thing about Fredbear is he runs at a speed just unseen. I'm not even slowing down the footage, you can just see there's not much time for you to react once he locks onto you. So safe to say we're going to have an absolute blast with this thing. My second attempt was me trying to get deeper within the house, looking for any objects to find a way in. Unfortunately, I would not find anything, and this was well, it wasn't too good. And I managed to get myself locked in the bathroom with Fredbear just outside the room. This time I looked more, I guess, in the exterior of the house, and I did find a really strange, object just outside the front door. I then found out that you can actually enter the top of the house, and this would be my next area to go to. Using the crates which we can find at the back of the house, we were able to climb this thing and manage to get toward the roof. Although there was a lot of times where Fredbear would see me and then jump up and get me from the top of this thing. Safe to say, Fredbear could literally do anything. He can fly, he can jump, he can run. He's just a pure monster in this game. Interestingly, as I got jump scared, I was transported into another dimension. I'm not even sure what I was looking at, but it seemed that the neighbor had some backstory here, and obviously this game is quite old, and I haven't actually played Hello Neighbor, like the game version. I've played the prototypes, I never played the official game, so I didn't know what was going on, but I just kind of continued my way trying to enter the neighbor's house. But Fredbear would make my time absolutely just uncomfortable, as the way it worked is just he would just go outside, check for 1 second, see me, and then I would die in the second he saw me. So as being as sneaky as possible, I managed to make some progress. I managed to get toward the roof, and I found some keys. All in all, I think Fredbear may have been stuck during this period of gameplay, but I'm not too sure. I managed to grab 2 keys from this boarded off room, which I then used to make it toward the other rooms in the house. And I managed to grab a new item, being this magnet, which I could basically have as a tool. However, I believe that Fredbear was still, running around the house, so I had to be very careful as of this moment. I did manage to grab myself a spanner and a shovel and a crowbar. All these tools would give me the exact thing I would need to get toward the basement. Ultimately though, Fredbear would still be active, and I would find this out the hard way. As I tried using the glue to slow him down, this didn't even impact him the slightest, as I believe Fredbear doesn't even run and work as the usual neighbor would. Oh yeah, I'm dead. Oh my god. Because Fredbear just ran past the glue and tackled me like a AFL, or if you're from America, an NFL player. A couple of jump scares later, I was very clear that I had to get toward the basement sooner than later, because it had been a solid 30 minutes and I have not even once entered the basement. I managed to get the final key, being the red one, and I did this by getting toward the top of the house using this back door. And this was the final tool I needed. After entering the basement, we had now successfully evaded Fredbear. Although I thought, as Fredbear would make it down toward the basement and would be the next threat we would have to deal with. This basement level is even more confusing, as there's a lot of boarded off rooms and Fredbear now glows. So that's great. The thing about the basement is you're trying to get toward this area and switch the power off. You're then basically having to go toward the other area of the basement and then run through here and turn on the generator. However, Fredbear is also active and can go ahead and switch off this tool whenever he wants. This meaning you have to pretty much turn off the tool, make it toward the generator as quickly as possible. As if you're not quick enough, Fredbear will simply go toward the thing, switch it on, and you would be electrocuted. So it was very important to keep as much space from Fredbear as possible, as we are now in this very enclosed space. So if we make any mistake, if we make too much sound, then we're going to attract Fredbear, therefore we're not going to survive. The thing that I would do is I would keep to as many rooms as possible, not trying to get toward the hallways, which is where Fredbear loves to roam. And in doing that, I did manage to go ahead and find a path toward the generator box that was quickest. That means I could turn off the generator power, go straight there, and then turn it on again. This would override this door, allowing us to finally escape the grasp of Fredbear. Although this newly found freedom was temporary, as the neighbor would appear and chase us down this very tight maze. For some reason it wasn't Fredbear, and I assume this was if Fredbear was in this section we would die every single time, as Fredbear's speed is absolutely 10 times quicker than the player, so I'm assuming that's why they chose to get rid of Fredbear. But after that we managed to get to Act 2, and I think that puts an end toward our Hello Neighbor run. I'm definitely happy to get back toward this mod in a future video, perhaps a longer form video, just targeting the Fredbear mod. But for now, that was the first act of Hello Neighbor with the fast Fredbear mod, an absolutely disgustingly terrifying and hard, well, add-on to the game. So those were the two FNAF games for this video. Both of these games were absolutely just incredibly hard to beat. I will have the first game and the mod in the description in case you want to try them out. The first game is a Roblox experience and the second one is a mod in Hello Neighbor. If you guys have enjoyed this video, please smash a like, and if you never want to miss out on a future upload, then also please consider subscribing as well. On screen here are some really tough FNAF games that I tried to beat. So if you want to check that out, then I'll see you there. But if not, then until next time, take it easy and goodbye.